Buddy, and welcome to Hump Day Hangouts episode 103. We're very close to 104, 1 week away. Let's say hi to everybody real quick. I'll start at the end on my screen, who I see, and start with Chris. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Can't complain. It's, well, I guess I can complain if I wanted to, but it's actually kind of nice here. It's just cold, so I'm waiting to hear the weather report from Marco. Winter has officially started here. So, Hernan, how's it going?
Hey guys, hey everyone. It's really good to be here. I'm excited for today, 104, a lot of stuff going on, so this is going to be a great episode.
Awesome. Oh, Marco, let's get the weather update.
Man, I'm sorry to say that it's still warm in Costa Rica. Sorry, man. I can't help it. It's about 85 right now. Rain is rolling in though, so it'll go down to about 80. Well, once the rain goes away, I can go take a dip in the pool. You know how that goes.
That's good. You got to suffer for a little bit so you can enjoy the good parts. So.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man.
Such a tough life.
Isn't it?
Oh, man. Bradley, how's it going?
Good, man. Glad to be here.
Good deal. Well, hey, before we get started, everybody, I wanted to go real quick. Obviously, local Kingpin just launched, so that's going really well. But I think a lot of people might not be aware that we're also going to have. So for people who decide that the local lead gen and on-demand traffic generation is for them, that we're going to be doing update webinars as part of the course. So you guys are obviously here watching Hump Day Hangouts. So you know we like to do webinars and we like to do training. But Bradley, do you want to tell them just a little bit about kind of what you're going to be doing with these update webinars and why they're there?
Sure. Well, we're going to be adding, or I'm adding, a second case study. I actually started setting that up today, so I'll be adding additional videos to the training. Guys, it's a one-time purchase, but I'm going to be continuing to update the training over the next probably 3 months or so, because I'm still learning on how to improve the AdWords campaigns. And so as I continue to learn, I'm going to share that with you guys, or whoever, all local Kingpin members, because I'm not 100% satisfied with where it's at now. Even though I've already gotten a lot of really good responses for where it's at, I still think it can be better, and so I want to make it better. And so I'm going to continue to add training inside the members area, but then we're also going to have probably at least 3 update webinars that are probably spaced out at least 3 or 4 weeks apart. So over the next 3 months, we're going to have an additional 3 webinars, which will be kind of like Q&A, where members can ask questions about specific issues they're having and that kind of stuff. And that goes for the Maps Kingpin upgrade too, which is kind of like the Maps SEO part of it. That's all going to be, all of that's going to be updated, the front end product and the upsell, if that makes sense.
Awesome. All right, and then on top of that too, we're also going to be giving people an additional custom ClickFunnels template to be using for local lead generation. So we're going to be adding that in there, and I think I'm going to talk Bradley into putting it to use, and so he'll be able to give you guys back some analysis on it.
Well, shit, if you get it done quick enough, I can use it on this next case study.
Awesome. Yeah, all right. Well, it should be done tomorrow-ish, so we'll see.
I'll be setting up ads this weekend for that new case study, so if you have it done, you can share it to my ClickFunnels account, and we'll be good to go.
Awesome. So yeah, it's gonna be done by some unnamed ClickFunnels certified partner. They're gonna knock it out, and we'll get it done.
Weird, I hear.
Yeah, some weirdo. So, well, we got one more. Marco, you want to tell everybody about the event coming up next week?
Yeah, as I mentioned last week, we're gonna have CT Fletcher on for an hour and a half. He's going to be talking about how he built his business, how he went from nearly dead to right now king of social media, just about, from what I see in everything that he's doing. So if you guys want to come and join us and listen in, get some tips, some hacks from the guy who's doing it, and everything has been done. He's not really paying for anything. It's all organic. It's all just him producing content and getting people to like his stuff, share his stuff. And so I'm going to share. Well, you shared the link already. That's cool. I was going to share the link, but the press release is going out early tomorrow. I would suggest, guys, that you go and reserve your space, because once it goes out, excuse me, he wants us to be free. He wants us to be available to the general internet or online public, not just our group, but we're kind of holding off so that our people can go in and reserve their seats, whoever's going to attend. Before it goes out. Once it goes on and the seats are locked, sorry, catch it on the replay. but we're planning to have lots of fun, ask him tons of questions, and just see what he has to say.
Awesome. That's going to be a great webinar.
Awesome. We're looking forward to that too.
Yep. Anybody got anything else? I think that's about all I got.
One more thing I want to mention is we've already started getting support tickets for people complaining about the coupon code expiring. Guys, we gave plenty of notice ahead of time for local Kingpin that we were going to have a 24-hour coupon available, and also our top affiliates, or the affiliates that actually send us real traffic, they got the ability to also send that $100 coupon out. So if you missed it, I'm sorry, but there was plenty of notification ahead of time. One way to avoid that in the future is to make sure you're on our notification list. Go to semanticmastery.com, subscribe to our notification list, and that way you won't miss the coupon the next time. That said, the price will be jumping again, what, to $397 on tomorrow?
Friday morning.
Friday, yeah.
And then eventually next week, it's going to go to its evergreen price of $497. So if you're on the fence and you still haven't purchased, I'd get it now, because there's no exceptions, guys. If you missed it, you missed it, okay? So, all right, didn't want to be a hard ass, but we got to keep our word, and that's what we said we'd do. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some questions. I'm going to grab the screen, and hopefully you guys can see. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me know if you're having any issues seeing, guys.
We good? Can you zoom in a little bit more, because it's kind of, if it's tiny for us, I bet that, okay, there we go.
That's about as big as it's going to get, man.
Yeah,
it'd be
that
like,
works.
when I read a question, it's going to be like watching a tennis match. It's going to go from one side to the other. All right, here we go. Greg Drebert says, what's the best way to influence autocomplete in Google search? Crowd search. Crowd search. You can do that with you know, any sort of those CT spam bots or applications, and obviously crowd search is the one that we use. But yeah, you can do that over. It takes time, but you can influence autocomplete or suggest by doing that. Okay, that's why that's so effective for brand searches, guys, or what you call navigational searches, because over time it adds brand search signals to Google, which is very, very strong for businesses. Okay. Greg says, when redirecting a site, what should be done about the privacy page, about us, disclosure tables, and library images at the old domain? Redirect them over, or just leave them? Yeah, why wouldn't you just redirect them, Greg? I mean, if you're putting moving all the content from one domain to another, just move those pages too. I don't know why you wouldn't, is what I'm saying. So yeah, just move those, and then you can just redirect the old links. And I don't know why you'd even really need to redirect the old links, because those aren't types of pages that typically you have any backlinks going to. So it really shouldn't affect SEO in any at all, period, if that makes sense. There's really no need to redirect old pages to new pages if everybody's going to land on your new site anyways, if that makes sense. And there's no sense in like redirecting old URLs from privacy policy pages, unless for whatever reason you had backlinks built to that you want to keep. After redirecting, I could not use the inform Google of address change function inside of Search Console, as it needed the old homepage to exist, and I have already redirected it. I instead use the fetch as Google and index the page button. Is this a good idea? And can I do that for all redirected pages? It would be only 10 pages. Thanks. Yeah, sure, you can do that. There's no problem with that. I mean, just changing the site address isn't really that big of a deal inside of Search Console, because you just add the new site once it's added, or you know, once you've got it set up, and it's just a new property. That's all. Okay. And yeah, the fetch as Google works. It's the same thing as submitting the URL, really. The only difference is when you use the fetch as Google, you can actually take a look at how the page renders to the Google bot. That's really the only difference. Okay. And you can also tell Google if you want them to crawl just that page alone, or the page and all of its direct links. You can tell it to do so. So usually with like a new site, a good thing to do is, you know, like if you have a page, like a categories page or something like that, that you can crawl and then have it crawl all its direct links, then that kind of helps to spider the site quicker. That's all. All right. Brandon says, hi, I have some questions regarding some URLs to include in the SerpSpace link building package order. Do you suggest we link to Google-owned stuff, like blogspot and Google+, some rank feeder feeds, or is this? I wouldn't do rank feeder feeds. The reason I wouldn't do that is because if you have any of your own your money site feeds, or excuse me, posts published in that rankfeedr feed, then you'd be essentially injecting spam directly to your money site. So I don't recommend that. But Google stuff is fine. Some of the individual docs in your IFTTT GDrive folder, well, you can do that, or you could just set the folder to public, which it should be anyways, and just select the folder URL, right? Because if you're building links to the folder URL, then all of the contents within the folder will get the link juice as well. Okay, so just go with the folder there. You can go with individual drive files, that's fine, but you can do the folder itself. I have built out some of the RYS stuff. Do we link to as many of those individual doc sheets and forms as we can? You can. Or if you have everything, what we call spider siloed, right, then you could just link to either the folder or any one of the docs or all of them. It really doesn't matter, because everything's going to spread around. No matter where you inject the link juice, it's going to spread around if you have it built right. And then on the network properties, how many individual syndicated blog posts should we link to? I don't link to individual blog posts on the network properties. I link to the homepage URL of all the network properties. Because if you link just directly to the individual post URLs, which is fine if you have, like, for example, if you have a page on your website that you're trying to rank, and so you've published a blog post with an internal link that's linking up to the page just the way that we teach, and you syndicate that post, then you can go collect those post URLs on the Web 2 properties and specifically target those post URLs with additional links, because then you'll be pushing juice from that post up through that internal link up to the main page of the site that you're trying to rank. So I only do that selectively when I need an extra boost for a particular page. But typically I just will build, for efficiency reasons, links to the homepage URLs of all the profiles, if that makes sense. And that's because, for example, with Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, if you're building links to the homepage URL, then every time a post is published, it's going to benefit from all of the juice that is basically sitting there on that homepage URL, right? Until it paginates, until the post paginates, which happens, like, let's say it's 10 posts on each page before it starts to go to page 2. So that means you've got like 9 more posts from the post that you published today. You've got an additional 9 posts before that post paginates and pushes off the first page, if that makes sense. So you can, what I found is most of the time you benefit from the link juice while it's still on that first page, and it helps you to rank. And then by the time it paginates, you typically should have seen results already. Okay. And then, by the way, you can always build links to your, like, once it starts to paginate, like page 2, page 3, you can actually build links to those too, by the way. You don't have to just stop at the homepage URL. But I try to get the most mileage out of those link building packages as I can. And to me, it's, unless I'm specifically trying to boost a particular post and therefore a page, then I just build directly to the homepage URLs of all the network properties. That way, everything that gets published benefits from those links instead of just an individual post or page, if that makes sense. Anybody else have any other suggestions for that?
I think I pointed this out in the past. What I've done at some point is, in case you need a boost, you know, for those pages and those posts that are on page 2, or, you know, bottom page 1, position number 9, or position number 15, for example, what you want to do is to post, you know, set up a new post with a link back to that page that you want to boost. That way, you know, you wait until it syndicates out, and then you grab the syndicated URLs. So, for example, if it syndicates to WordPress, Tumblr, and Blogger, you will grab the individual posts. You know, they will also have the link to the page that you want to boost, and you can build links to them. You can do PBN to them. You can do, you know, FCS networker to them, whatever you want to do to them. That way you can push an internal page or an internal article higher on Google, you know? So that's something that I usually do. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. If you have a particular page on your site that you're trying to rank, then when you publish the post on your blog from your money site with an internal link to that page, once it syndicates, collect the post URLs on the Web 2s. And that's very specific targeting. And if you have particular pages on your site that you need the boost for, that's a good way to do it. But like I said, as for efficiency reasons, I like to just build the links to the homepage, unless I'm selectively doing what we just discussed. That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
I had some really good results with a free WordPress blog, siloing it. I mean, mimicking the original site. It takes a lot of work, and every time that you get a new post, of course, it has to be manually added to the silo. But I mean, you get tons of traffic once it starts ranking, and it does rank really well.
Yeah.
So
awesome. All right, Mark says, "Hey guys, hope all is well. I have a question about interlinking Web 2 articles. I know it would be a bit manual, but with a VA and Browseo, would it be worth going through the Web 2 blogs and interlinking posts within that platform? WordPress, for example. Can you do that with syndicated content, using words or phrases within the syndicated content to link to another post? Thanks." Yeah, you could. I don't ever do that just because it requires too much manual work. I suppose you could, but my question is, why don't you just link from one post to another from the main money site blog so that the links are already present when you syndicate the article, right? My point is if instead of logging into WordPress.com, Blogger, and Tumblr, for example, and then adding manual links to other posts on those same sites, which should probably be the post from your money site anyways, why not just create internal links from your original blog post over to the other posts so that when they syndicate, they're already interlinked, so that it doesn't require manual work. Does that make sense? Now, if your main money site is siloed, then you don't want to cross-link between posts from different silos. Okay, you don't want to do that because you'll bleed the theme of the silo. But if it's a flat site and it's not siloed, then I wouldn't worry about it. You could relink, or if you're going to link to other posts within the same silo, then that's absolutely fine to do. But my point is if you can avoid having to have that second step of going in and actually manually adding links, if you can do that on the front end when you publish the first post, then I would knock it out there. So yes, Mark, you can do that, but I would recommend doing it from the blog or from the money site blog itself, and you can interlink within the same silo to other posts in that silo, or I wouldn't interlink between silos though. And if you're going to do that, you can do it with no follow links. If that makes sense, and that's more of a navigational thing. That's more of a link for a visitor than it is for SEO. Okay, but the no follow links, I mean, between silos. All right, Dave's next. He says, "Thank you for allowing me to ask a question. Forgive me if this is a little long, as I'm just a little confused. Hi, I was going to invest in IFTTT 2.0, but I'm a little confused now. According to this above course on local lead generation, local kingpin, I'm guessing IFTTT 2.0 course is not that effective anymore, as Google has now altered its ranking system." That's not the case, Dave. That's not the case at all. It's a good question. But that's not the case at all. It's not that IFTTT is not effective. The whole point of the local kingpin training course is to generate traffic on demand without having to do a bunch of SEO work. SEO is still absolutely effective for generating leads. Now, organic SEO for local leads isn't nearly as effective as it used to be, because you have to pass by as many as 7 other listings before you ever get to the first organic listing. That was the whole reason why I started learning how to use AdWords, was because my organic call volume, my call volume from my organic listings only had dropped as much as 60%. And so that took a serious hit in my revenue. So I decided I had to figure something else out. And not every lead gen property has a maps address, right? There's a lot of lead gen properties that had been generating revenue for me that didn't have a physical maps location. So I wasn't able to rank in the 3-pack, right? If you're going to focus on just SEO for generating leads, then I recommend that you focus on maps SEO and that you try to rank in the 3-pack, because the organic rankings aren't generating leads for searches with local intent that show a map. Okay, they're not nearly as many. You'll still get some leads, but not nearly as many. So I recommend, if you're going to be doing local lead gen, that you focus, and SEO is going to be your primary method, that you focus on maps alone, which IFTTT SEO Academy will help you to rank in maps. Okay. So in fact, the upsell for, or the upgrade, I should say, for the local Kingpin course, which is about AdWords, is how to rank in maps, which is SEO, maps SEO. And that's because it's still very effective. And the process that I use to rank in maps includes an IFTTT network. Any sort of SEO work that we do includes an IFTTT SEO network. Okay. So it's not that IFTTT SEO is not going to help you. It just depends on what is it that you would prefer. What would you rather do? Would you rather drive leads, generate leads by spending money and having it done quickly, and it's very scalable that way? Or so it's like, do you have more time or more money? If you have more time and less money, then you might want to go with something like SEO for generating leads. But if you have more money and less time, you might want to go with AdWords for generating leads. Right? So it really just depends on your own personal preference, where you are, and like what resources do you have available. Okay.
Yeah,
so
if I can add to what, sorry, Bradley, but if I can add to what you were saying, the main point and the main goal of Semantic Mastery, we as a group, is that you get profitable and you get results. And SEO IFTTT V2 works extremely well. So does AdWords, and so does Facebook advertising. We have been talking a little bit about that on our last mastermind, and there's potential to make a course about that. So the idea is not to pick either or, but rather use every tool at your disposal to grow your assets and to grow your company. We would be doing you a disservice if we would say just do SEO, because that's not how it works. The idea is that you get results, and one of the best way to do that is to combine traffic sources, because that will give you more independence and that will give you more freedom, and and all of those kind of things. So I just wanted to say that Semantic Mastery is focused on giving you results. It doesn't really matter what you do. Of course, SEO works. Even if you do 100% paid advertising, we will still tell you, okay, do some SEO, because that's a long-term, mid-term relation, traffic source and relationship within the two. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. And that's a good point, because, for example, with AdWords, let's say that your cost per acquisition for a lead is, $35, which isn't. It depends on what kind of service you're in. But for me in my business, the tree service industry, that's actually a good price for acquiring a lead, right? So let's say $35 is my cost per acquisition, because all I'm doing is AdWords. However, what if I can also rank in both maps and potentially organic listings as well? And let's say that I start getting 30-40% of my leads coming through maps, right? Then now I've actually decreased my cost per acquisition considerably, because I'm generating leads through maps that aren't costing me on a per click basis, right? There's still a cost to it, guys. Everybody says free SEO traffic. Bullshit. There's no such thing as free traffic. You have to put work and effort in. It's either time, work, or effort, or all of the above. So there is no such thing as free traffic. You still have to put work into it. So again, it really just depends on what you're saying. What Hernan, or what your resources are, and what Hernan just said is absolutely true. Do as many traffic sources as possible, because that way you have a much more diversified traffic source. You don't have to rely on just one. If you just rely on SEO and something happens, Google changes its algorithm tomorrow, and you lose that site, you've just lost that stream of revenue. And that's why I think supplementing even with AdWords now is critical for any sort of local lead gen business, because there is so much volatility in SEO that, and we never know what's going to happen. It's becoming increasingly complex, so that it's, in my opinion, why not go ahead and scoop up traffic from all sources that we can? And I stick specifically with like YouTube and Google and Maps, right? But one of the things eventually I'd like to get into is learning how to generate leads, local leads, using Facebook ads. If I ever decide to start doing Facebook ads, I have a Hernan though. so he does all that stuff for us. In fact, we may end up doing a training course about that at some point down the road, in which case I'm anxious to take it. So. All right, so for the rest of that question, I know there will be a lot of hard work put in by myself to rank websites and study for formula, but will it be as effective as it initially was? Yes, it still is. What kind of results have your students been getting in terms of remuneration for ranking websites? I know we've got a lot of really good testimonials in the IFTTT SEO group. So, you know, our students are getting, anybody that implements that and they do it right, usually gets results. So
yeah, I was going to say, you can go to the IFTTTSEO.com, the sales page for IFTTT SEO Academy, and check it out. Those are real.
Yep.
The stuff we put up there of people having a result. So we've got some examples right there.
How profitable can I get? I can't tell you that, Dave. I wish I could. But, you know, it just depends on how you're running. What are your expenses? You know, how are you monetizing your leads? Who are you selling them to? What are you selling them for? There's way too many variables. But, you know, I mean, a good lead gen site, it just depends. My lead gen sites, my average on my tree service sites that are SEO based only, I don't have an average for my AdWords funnels yet because it's still too new for me. I don't have enough data for me to be able to determine what my averages are on those. But for my SEO sites that are mainly ranked in maps for the tree service stuff, I have an average of about $400 per month per location. And that's because it varies widely. For example, I've got some that, you know, I might only get 2 or 3 jobs out of an entire month. And so those lead gen properties aren't making but, you know, maybe a couple $100 a month, if that, sometimes not even that. But then I also have other properties that generate, you know, $1,200, $1,500 a month. And so the average comes out to be across all the different sites that I have roughly about $400 per site per location. So the trick there is to build many, many, many of them, right? And I love that, guys, because every single one of those is an additional stream of revenue. So that if some of them get hit by, you know, slapped by Google or whatever, I still have a whole bunch of others that are generating revenue, right? It's diversification.
Something else real quick, I realized too, I don't think that is on the sales page that I'll be updating soon then, is that you did the monetization webinar. So inside of the training, there's actually at least one webinar, if not 2, I forget, but that speak directly towards how you can monetize these.
Yeah, it wasn't a webinar. It was just a training video.
Yep.
Monetization models. I actually just added that yesterday. So, but we'll be talking more about that again in some of the update webinars. So, or are you talking about inside of IFTTT SEO Academy? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you've done at least one dedicated to it, and there might have been a couple other places.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about local kingpin because I just added monetization models training to that yesterday. So, okay, Ashley says, hi, you are great. Okay, I'll +1 that. I want to build backlinks to my IFTTT network. Is that possible to use some black hat tricks like GSA, scrapebox, fiverr gig, or just PBNs? Yes. Absolutely. What we recommend is that your first tier of links, so your first layer of links to your IFTTT network properties, you keep them clean. In other words, don't use like kitchen sink spam. You want to do like contextual links from usually properties with some higher metrics, themed if possible. And then from there, you can throw kitchen sink spam at that first layer of links, that first tier. But you don't want to burn your IFTTT properties because you want to treat those as, they are like an SEO firewall, guys. That's in part why we use them. But at the same time, they are extensions of your brand. So you don't want to just spam them to death. I would, you know, the way that we do it is we build what is it? It's between like 75 to 125 contextual links to the IFTTT properties. And then we throw spam behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the case. I mean, you don't want to burn them. So do not throw, I don't know, a couple 100,000 directly to the IFTTT networks, but just use, because we have had greater results in terms of metrics, in terms of rankings, by adding a layer of contextuals in between. That's exactly what we are doing on our IFTTT link building service. You know, that's the structure of it. You get a handful of links per IFTTT property backed with spam. So
yeah. Yeah, and again, you can use any of those tools that you just mentioned. That's fine. Okay, Ben says, a client getting questions, starting with little to no resources. If you had to have an SEO client by next week, what would you do to make it happen? Me, video email. So what I call V-mail. That was how I first started off getting clients when I first branched out from just doing lead gen and started landing like clients as client consulting work. I did it with video email, and I literally built my business with my client-based business from video email. It was the most effective way to contact and to prospect for clients was video email. Okay. Nice. And if I pause the screen for a minute, I can get you a link to
I remember that guy. It was pretty good. The guy that you made, the video prospecting.
And I've got a link to an opt-in form that you can opt in to get free video or free training on how to do video email if you'd like. I'm going to have to pause the screen to get it. Maybe what I'll do is when the webinar is over, here, I'll make a note of it and I'll post it. I'll tag you, Ben, so that you get notified. Just a minute. I'm writing a note. Vmail opt-in. And you opt in, you'll get the free training for how to do video email. And then obviously, since you opted in, I'm going to spam you to death. Okay. So just be aware that you're going to be spam. No, I'm kidding. but yeah, I'll paste that link on the page once the webinar is over, Ben.
If he's just starting out and he has just absolutely nothing, that there's nothing that he can turn to or go on, man, the best thing that he can do is network. In other words, just get out to his local business owners and let them know. Let me get this right. Find out who they are. Find out what they need. Well, you know what they need. They need more money.
Yeah.
You need to figure out how to let them know that you can make them more money without really hammering them over, because they've heard the pitch before. So, I mean, that's the thing. Get out there, get yourself known, make up some business cards, man. Bradley has said it before. Fake it till you make it. So you can put on the SEO expert or however it is that you want to brand yourself. But you have to make people aware that your brand exists, what it is that you do, and how it is that you can help them. So get out there, hit the pavement, let them know, you get your business cards out there, get known. And I think that gets some positive results. It's worked for me. I've used Craigslist. I've used just about everything there is. When I needed a client, I mean, I've gone to Craigslist for gigs, and I've bid on jobs that have been posted, Upwork. I've done it all when I needed a client or when I wanted a client to test something.
Personally, I didn't find a whole lot of good results with like going to business networking meetings, like meetup meetings and stuff. I ended up spending more damn time just driving back and forth to the meetings and having to buy bullshit breakfast at IHOP or whatever, like that resulted in such little client work, although it just got me out of my comfort zone and talking about my business. And again, everybody's going to have different results. I'm just saying personally, from my experience, the best results I got was from video emails, and that's selecting, potential clients or whatever, particularly in a niche that you want to work in. And then just crafting a video like, where you're analyzing their property and not criticizing it, but explaining how it could be improved upon, that kind of stuff. And then sending those personalized emails to the owners or to the business, preferably the owners if possible. And I found, and kind of a hybrid model of the two worked, whereas I would go to the networking meetings and collect business cards and then follow up with those people using video emails. And now that was a kind of a 1-2 punch, and that worked well too.
Nice.
Now I'm going to hop in here, and I may get slaughtered on this one by you guys, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyways. Do two things at once. Do what they're saying, and then while you're looking for that, find somebody, hopefully somebody who's got a business, just do some work for them to get some results. Get a testimonial from them. Put yourself out there and do something good for them. It doesn't have to be ranking their website on page 1. Just, can you help them with their social media? Can you help them with their content? Can you do a site audit? Do something and get a testimonial from them, because nobody's going to want to hire you if you don't have anybody that can refer you. And that's where the real work's going to start coming in, when people start referring you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this. And if I may add, a couple of things that have helped me tremendously are to leverage communities like discussion forums and Facebook groups, for example. And as Bradley was saying, you can really pick what kind of Facebook groups or what kind of communities you're joining. And for example, let's say that you want to work with realtors, join a realtor group, and do not try to teach them real estate. Try to help them with digital marketing or SEO in your case. It's amazing. If you add value over there, it's amazing the amount of work that you can get, because those people are usually trying to get, you will not try to sell them anything, but just be helpful. As Adam was saying, try to do something for them. And it's amazing the amount of contacts that you can get, because those people are actually there, really engaged with the topic. And most of the cases, they're really desperate about finding somebody that they can trust. And the reality is that you can build that trust by actually helping people on those forums or those Facebook groups. And that will get you a ton of recommendations and, private messages, etc. It has happened to me just for the sake of being helpful on discussion forums that are around a niche that you wanna go after, and Facebook groups as well. Posting a really good piece of content over there, Ben, that's related to the problems that they're getting. As Marco was saying, they're not getting enough leads, they're not getting enough sales. That will instantly position yourself as the authority figure in, for example, SEO for realtors, and you will get a ton of private messages, etc. And then off you go, because it's just about being helpful, and do not try to pitch them, because again, they've heard it, but you are actually showing them that you can help them in the future, but by helping them right now. And that's that has been really valuable for me, and that's a tip that I hope you use, because it's super it's amazing the amount of feedback that you can get by just being helpful and dedicating like 1 or 2 hours a day, just spending time on those forums and communities and being helpful. So
yeah,
being helpful. If I can just add, being helpful works. Yeah. We're going on our 104th episode,
yeah.
trying to be helpful, and the whole Semantic Mastery brand has practically been built on being helpful. So
that's true. We've been at it for 2 years now. Well, next week it will be 2 years on Hump Day Hangouts. So, and the last thing I want to mention about that, Ben, is I've always used video SEO as a foot in the door too. As far as video email for prospecting, but video SEO is a foot in the door typically. Video SEO is not my primary method of making money. I love to use video SEO, but it's specifically as a foot in the door, because it's something that, although I know it's way more difficult than it was even a year ago or 2 years ago to rank for local terms, you could take a long-tailed keyword that's like not competitive at all. Once you've even before you initiate the contact with a prospect, and rank something for them with their branding on it, so that when you send them a video prospecting email, you can show them the property that you ranked, like show them a video. And it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It's just to show them that you know what you're doing, because how will they know? For the vast majority of prospects aren't going to know whether it was a difficult keyword to rank for. For example, you could rank for like your keyword plus zip code, right? So your keyword plus city plus zip code, because it's very rare that people search by zip code. They do, but it's rare. So you could rank a video for that fairly easily, most likely. And then you could just point that out in your video prospecting email that you send to that specific prospect and say, hey, look, I did this just to show you I know what I'm talking about. Would you be interested in, in some additional marketing help that can drive more leads in your business and help you to make more money, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. So, I mean, again, video, and that way you could do something for free for them to prove that you know what you're doing. But I agree with what Adam said, and that's just finding, some people that you can be helpful, and Hernan as well, people that you can be helpful with, and then maybe offer up some free services in exchange for referrals. That's another good tactic. Say, look, I'll help you set up, optimize your maps listing, and maybe perhaps, build, rank a YouTube video for you or whatever. And then all I ask for in return is that you give me 3 business referrals, three other people that that are in business that could potentially use help with marketing.
I just want to say real quick too, everybody who's requesting access, we're going to include that link in the Friday email. So if you're not signed up to it, go to semanticmastery.com, get signed up, and that'll be on the Friday email. Also, if you're watching this in the future from some other point in time, since we get a lot of people watching the replays, shoot us an email at support@semanticmastery.com, and we'll get you the link for the video prospecting.
Yeah, and guys, I'm going to drop it on this events page as soon as we get done. Okay, so I'll just post it in about 15 minutes. Okay, you guys, it'll be right here on the event page. All right, so Ivan's next. He says, hi guys, looking forward to the 104th. Yes, we are too. Question about Google Maps. I created a personalized Google map. So he's talking about Google My Maps for my residential computer repair company. Now I want to offer 3 more related services. My question is, what do you think would be better? 1, adding 3 new layers or pins targeting services like service 1, 2, and 3 on my existing map, or 2, create 3 new maps and naming them service 1, service 2, service 3, linking the 3 maps somewhere in the description. By the way, I watched the 4 videos of RYS Academy. Awesome information. Now I'm playing around with Google Sites creation. That's another link that we could drop, Adam, for the free RYS webinar series.
Yeah, let me grab that real quick.
Since that was mentioned. Ivan, I haven't tested those, like the difference between those 2 methods. The way that I've always done it, which I haven't built a whole lot myself, is adding additional layers to the same map. But I haven't tested that. Maybe Marco could speak on this one a little bit.
No, we've tried both. And the thing is that everything just flows throughout the folder. And everything depends on the niche, man. Everything depends on what you're going after. Everything depends on the keywords, competition. There's so many variables that what I would tell him is do both. There's no reason why you can't do both.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're my maps, right? And so go do both and see which one works better. Then it might just turn out that they all work. And
yeah, I've always just done option 1 on the same map, just added new layers. But yeah, I haven't tried the other method. It would almost be worth setting that up on 2 different properties. You know what I mean? Like to see if one has a better, if you do both at the same time for the same property, I don't know if you'd know which one had the better results, because you just kind of threw both at it at the same time. You know what I mean? That'd be worth setting up a test for, though, honestly. But yeah, I mean, just do both. Why not? So Sky's up. He says, if you have time, can you briefly go over how you would use systrix.com and what additional info you would add to improve SEO? Are you talking about for video object? Yeah, apparently that's what he's talking about. You know, oh, that's schema.org. The Systrix tool for videos is the only time I've ever used it. It was for video objects. Let's see what they got. Is it thinking? What the hell is it doing? Okay. Let's see. Anyways, there's the video tool on here somewhere. And that's the only one that I've ever used. The only problem that I find with it is it kind of screws up the formatting of your posts. If you try to include this like in a WordPress post, it gives it some strange formatting, and I guess it has to do with like CSS conflict or something from the microdata. I don't know. I'm not a coder. Does that sound right, Marco? So I'm not talking out of my ass.
That's probably it.
Okay.
So and even if you play with it, like if you CSS it on the website and make it look good, when it gets syndicated out, there's nothing that guarantees it won't be stripped out. So
and it's probably gonna look like shit too,
yeah, you can't control the CSS on whatever template you're using on free websites anyway. So yeah. Yeah,
and that's so you know, I actually avoid using that when possible. Like I'll use the video WordPress SEO video, the WordPress SEO plugin from Yoast. There's a video SEO add-on. It's expensive, but I like to use that if I'm doing like a lot of heavy video stuff on sites. But just to finish the question, would you inflate the meta item prop interaction count, as this would obviously go up over time? I don't like to inflate anything in structured data, like unless there's real data to back it up somewhere. Personally, I don't, because you can get structured data spam, manual action taken against your site. And so I don't think it's worth it. So I stopped spamming structured data probably over 2 years ago now, because I've gotten in the past those structured data spam action messages inside, manual spam action messages inside of Search Console from that. And so I stopped doing it. That was like adding review stars and shit when there weren't really reviews, that kind of stuff. So I don't know that I would inflate the interaction count. I would just use whatever the data is at the time, and then if you need to update it later on, then you could. But I don't know how that updates real time, anyways. So I think it's something you'd have to manually do. Like for example, I've got a client that's got reviews now showing on his site, and he emails me about once a month asking me if I can update the review count on his structured data, which I did for the first couple months, and now I told him no. I sent him a video and said, you do it. Here's how you do it, because it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I don't know how you can update that stuff in real time without doing it manually. Would you use an H3 tag rather than the default H2? I don't know, Sky. I haven't tested if one is more effective than the other. I typically would just use whatever like the output is. For example, the Systrus output. I stopped using it though, like I said, because microdata doesn't work nearly as well, guys, as JSON LD. JSON LD is the preferred method. Even Google says so now. That's what Google prefers over microdata. Microdata was the start of structured data, guys, because it was a way to mark up objects without having, on a page, because microdata is like HTML markup. Okay, it's structured data markup, but it uses like HTML elements to do it. But JSON LD is a smarter way to do it. And by the way, did you know that you can add JSON LD script inside posts for the most part? I mean, like WordPress editor might strip it out, but you should be able to add it anywhere, that type of script, anywhere on the page. It doesn't have to be in the header is my point. So anybody else want to comment on that?
No, I would use JSON LD as well. So
yeah, and there's plenty of those JSON LD creator tools online now, lots of them, and you can check that. And by the way, if you want to insert JSON LD into a particular page and WordPress is stripping it out, it depends on the theme, I think, because some themes will strip it out and some won't. But there is a couple different plugins that you could use to install that. One is, I think, raw HTML. I think you can add JSON LD script with that. I can't remember 100% off the top of my head, but there's another one which was, what's it called? HO code inserter or something like that. You guys remember that one? HO code inserter plugin or something like that. Let's go see if we can find it real quick. I'll have to try to find that. Damn it, I got notes that I'm taking for follow-up. OH.
Got more work to do after you're done working.
Yeah, right. OH. Add scripts. There it is. OH add script. 10 OH add script. 2 pages. That's the one I'm talking about right there. I don't see the plugin, but that's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Maybe the link's actually on this page. It probably is. Hold on one more second, guys. There it is. Right there. This one. Add script to individual pages, header, footer. This is so you can add JSON LD markup to specific pages or posts. This is the plugin you can use for that. So like, for example, I'm not sure how you would mark up a video with JSON LD. I just haven't done that myself. So, but I'm sure you can do it. And that's how you would add it to WordPress if your theme strips it out. All right. All right, next, Ganti says, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Is there a lot of schema that can potentially be added according to schema video? Any tips as the keywords, same as, and a few other look pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on that, Marco? I'll let you handle that one.
No, I mean, I do just a standard. I don't like to spam it. A lot of people tell you that, and I've seen it said that more is better, especially if you go to like schema.org, they tell you that more schema is better, but there's a point, and I think you're one of the people that found out, where Google says, no, you're spamming your structured data and do that. And so why? There's really no reason to inflate the interaction count. There's really no reason to add any of that other stuff, keywords and all of that, because you're taking care of that through your content silos and everything else anyway, right? And the video, if you're getting the transcription, then you have plenty of content. I don't know why you would want to do keywords. Same as maybe spam my map instead of a video. Add schema the way that we do in Maps Powerhouse. Yeah. Add schema that way if you want to spam, where at least you're protected a little bit.
Next is Ganti. He says, if you still find time, would like to know more about using Facebook's new instant articles feature to get traffic to the blog and also use IA with IFTTT. I can't speak on it at all, Ganti. It's Facebook, and I just don't do anything with Facebook. I guess I'll defer to Hernan.
That's a good question, Ganti. I haven't used it yet, instant article Facebooks, unfortunately.
I know there was a big launch of some product this week that had to do with that stuff. So.
Oh yeah. No, Ganti, I'm sorry. I haven't used that. I'm still getting used to messenger ads. those ads that you click on that you click on them and you get a message on Facebook Messenger. You know, those are pretty cool. And I'm starting to experiment a little bit with that, but I haven't. I'm sorry, Ganti. I haven't got the time to go through it. I'll try to, you know, investigate a little bit with it, and maybe if you can trigger a Facebook page, you can use IFTTT Facebook, IFTTT native Facebook channel to trigger the automation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that will link back to Facebook. I don't think that's the best use of your IFTTT network, unless you want to publish content only, which would be fine. But we will need to dive into that a little bit more. So.
All right, we're at the 5-minute warning, so I'm going to have to roll through the next couple. Jay asks, when negotiating value of lead gen videos to a potential client, or lead gen videos that don't rank on the first page of the long tail keyword in Google, but do rank in video listings, too tough a sell for the effort? Yeah, Jay, in my opinion, because very rarely do people click the vertical search, so it's not really all that valuable. I would actually position that not as in the vertical search, you know, the video search of Google. What I would do is suggest, like, if I was going to try to talk it up, I would say it's ranked #1 in YouTube, because a lot of the times you'll be able to rank in YouTube #1, but even if it won't rank in Google. And so, you know, there is a lot of traffic in YouTube. It's not usually the type of traffic that's looking for local intent stuff, but that's how I would frame it. But yeah, that's kind of a tough sell. If it's not ranking in Google, if it's only ranking in the video search, then it's to me, it's not really valuable. I'll target other keywords. That's what I'll do. Is and I've mentioned this many times before. If I can't rank the keyword, I don't even let clients tell me the keyword that they want to rank for anymore. Like, I ask them, what would you like to rank for? And then I do keyword research, and then I come back to them and say, okay, here's what I can rank you for. These are the different keyword search phrases that I can rank you for. Are any of these acceptable? And maybe what I'll do is do a poking job, right? So I'll be able to determine which keywords I can rank for with little or no work. And then I'll go back and say, look, I'll give you a 3-for-1 special. Like, I can't rank you for this keyword, but I can rank you for these other 3, and I'll give it to you for the same price. Why? Because I just found out through poking that I could rank without any additional work, right? So why not give them 3-for-1 and still capture that revenue, if that makes sense? Now, I don't just rank them for spammy keywords that don't generate any traffic. There has to be some traffic potential, or else it's not worth it. And I'm not just going to take somebody's money, unless they just want to see their videos so that they can, you know, puff out their chest and say that they're awesome because their videos ranked on page 1. And in which case, there are clients out there that's all they want. It's just an ego thing. And I'll be happy to take their money to do that for them, you know? All right, we got 2 more minutes. Hi, Scott says, hi, are we able to create a few websites under our own name instead of an alias? Is there an issue if a person has several websites? No, Scott. I just always talk about, you know, reducing potential risk. But yeah, you can have as many websites, as far as I know, under your own name as you want. As far as like Search Console, I don't know if there's a limit to how many you can put in Search Console. I've got several dozen and I haven't hit a limit yet. So, but I also don't put everything under one account. Like, I have persona accounts that actually own in air quotes the account, and then I just add myself as a manager. And we've talked about that many times on Hump Day Hangouts. He says, I also noticed Google is so sensitive, probably Facebook and other platforms as well. If you don't log in from the same IP, then they are asking for phone verification immediately. That's true. Using fake alias with burner numbers could be an issue if the number doesn't work when needing to re-verify for whatever reason a couple months down the road. Things happen. That's true. But that's why if you create the accounts under a proxy, another IP, then you can always log into those accounts through your own IP when their accounts are still new. And they typically won't trigger re-verification. And even if they do, you should still have the burner number available if you created the account yourself to begin with. And if you bind it to your IP, then you shouldn't have any additional login issues going forward. That said, you can also, as we mentioned throughout the training, if you create these sites underneath persona accounts and then add yourself as a page manager, then you can access through your own IP because you're a manager. You're authorized to access those accounts. So it won't trigger re-verification because you're accessing from your own account. So again, all that's covered in the training. You know, if you want to put everything underneath your own profile, you can. Just be aware, if anything ever happens to your profile, you're going to lose all your assets. So it's up to you as to how much risk you're willing to handle. All right, we got to go, guys. I really wish we could have got to the rest of the questions. I'm sorry we didn't. I'm going to go find that link and drop it on here for the video prospecting the Vmail course, guys. It's free. It was something I put together like 4 years ago, I think it was, before I was in a partnership with two ladies. We were doing real estate branding. So just, you know, it doesn't have semantic mastery and all that, but the training is still valid. And that's all that matters. So I'll drop the link here, and then we'll see IFTTT SEO Academy members in about 5 minutes for the update webinar. Got some pretty cool things to show today, and then we'll see everybody else next week.
I was going to say, too, real quick before we hop off, we also got the podcast, guys. Check it out on the website. Me and Hernan will kind of crawl through here and try to answer some of them, and Bradley's been known to come back every once in a while and answer a couple questions. So if you revisit the page, you might see some stuff. But yeah, be sure to check out the podcast, and we'll see you guys later.
Okay, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
A few minutes from
Bye.
SEO. Bye.
Bye, Hernan.